She was forced to marry a rich man, a true life story. Isabella sat quietly in the back of the car as the city of Chicago faded behind her. The mansion loomed ahead, an imposing structure nestled in the affluent Lake Forest district. Its tall iron gates opened with a groan, like a beast welcoming its prey. She stared blankly at the window, her thoughts a whirlwind of dread and resistance. Adelaide Beaumont, her mother, sat beside her, adorned in a designer silk suit and diamond earrings that caught the morning light. Her perfectly manicured nails drummed against the leather armrest. "You'll thank me for this one day," she said without looking at Isabella. "You're securing a future most girls only dream of." Isabella clenched her fists. "Most girls dream of love, not contracts. Love fades. Money doesn't," Adelaide replied curtly. Meanwhile, in a small garage on the city's south side, Daniel Carter wiped grease from his hands. The small business he ran fixing cars had been struggling. The bills from his grandmother's recent hospitalization had drained what little savings he had left. She was his world, the only family he had left. The doctors had said she needed surgery within the month, but without the funds, she'd be placed on a waiting list that could stretch into forever. Daniel stared at the ceiling fan above, its slow rotation echoing the pace of his despair. A knock at the garage door jolted him. It was Isabella. Their first meeting had been accidental. She'd walked by his garage weeks ago after fleeing an overwhelming dinner with Gregory Wainwright, the wealthy fiancé her mother had chosen for her. Daniel had offered her a drink of water and a quiet place to breathe. In that brief interaction, she saw what life could be. A life not dictated by opulence, but by sincerity. They started meeting in secret. Park benches, old bookstores, city rooftops. Their connection was quiet but deep. They didn't talk about the wedding until she brought it up herself. "I need your help," she said that day. Daniel furrowed his brow. "With what?" She explained everything. The forced engagement, Gregory's family riches, her mother's obsession with legacy. And then she said the impossible. "I'll give you the money for your grandmother's surgery if you agree to pretend to marry me." He stared at her, confused. "What are you talking about?" She took a deep breath. "Gregory and his family only care about appearances. They don't know me well. If I show up with a groom, sign the paperwork, and get the trust fund, I can divorce after a few months. Then you walk away with the money, and I walk away from this prison." Daniel hesitated. It sounded ludicrous, but he saw the desperation in her eyes, and he thought of his grandmother. The plan unfolded faster than either of them expected. Adelaide was furious when Isabella called off the official wedding, claiming she'd already married someone else. But when legal documents arrived bearing City Hall stamps and photos of Daniel and Isabella, Adelaide had no choice but to back down. Her reputation couldn't survive a public scandal. Gregory, however, did not go quietly. He confronted Isabella outside her charity gala weeks later. "You think you're clever? You're a Beaumont. You were born to marry money. I was born to live my own life," she snapped. The press got wind of it. Rumors spread. Gossip columns painted Isabella as a rebellious socialite, a woman in love with a poor mechanic. Adelaide's phone never stopped ringing. Sponsors pulled out. Investors questioned her credibility. But the real bombshell came 2 months later when Gregory Wainwright was indicted for embezzlement and tax fraud. His empire crumbled in a week. Suddenly, Isabella's exit looked like genius instead of rebellion. Adelaide tried to reach out, but Isabella didn't answer. The surgery was successful. Daniel's grandmother recovered well, and her health stabilized. Isabella began working with underprivileged women in the city, starting her own nonprofit. Daniel expanded his garage into a full automotive repair and restoration business. Months passed. They never discussed love. Not directly, but it lived in the way they cooked dinner together, in the quiet hours spent watching old movies, in the way Isabella smiled when she saw Daniel reading next to her. One evening, under the soft glow of the kitchen lights, Isabella turned to him. "You know, we were never really married. Not in the eyes of the law." Daniel paused, then smiled. "Do you want to be? For real this time?" Tears welled up in her eyes. Yes, yes, I do. Adelaide watched from afar. She had lost control, but in the process, her daughter had found something real. She attended the small wedding ceremony quietly, sitting in the back row, wearing a simple dress. She cried not out of defeat, but out of recognition. The girl she raised had become the woman she never dared to be. A year later, Isabella spoke at a youth empowerment event. Her speech ended with words that resonated deeply. Sometimes the greatest wealth you can gain is the freedom to choose your own life. And in the crowd, Daniel clapped the loudest. The drama wasn't over. Months into their real marriage, Gregory's father, Charles Wainwright, reemerged, hell-bent on vengeance. Unlike Gregory, Charles had powerful friends, judges, lobbyists, media moguls. He saw Isabella's story as a smear against the Wainwright legacy. He launched a full-scale media campaign to discredit her. Her nonprofit was audited. Anonymous tips flooded child welfare about her volunteers. Daniel's garage received threats. Social media turned on them. "This is war," Daniel said one night, watching news anchors twist the truth. "Then we fight," Isabella replied. They hired a young but brilliant attorney named Maeve Chun. With every fabricated claim, Maeve countered with evidence, affidavits, testimony. Eventually, Isabella went public with a tearful interview on national television. She didn't play the victim. She spoke with courage. "I did what I had to do to escape control," she said. "I will not apologize for choosing freedom." The tide turned. Thousands rallied behind her. Donations poured in. Daniel's garage saw record business. One evening, as the sun set behind their home, Daniel received a letter. It was from Charles. It read, "You may have won this battle, but the war for legacy never ends." Daniel burned the letter. Months passed peacefully, but life wasn't done testing them. Isabella was diagnosed with early-stage ovarian cancer. The prognosis was good, but the emotional toll was brutal. Daniel became her rock. He took leave from the garage. He cooked, cleaned, held her through chemo. Adelaide moved in temporarily. The icy barrier between mother and daughter thawed slowly. In the stillness of illness, secrets spilled. Adelaide confessed her own regrets. The man she loved once, the career she abandoned, the fear that made her controlling. "I didn't want you to repeat my mistakes," she whispered. "But they were yours to make, not mine," Isabella replied. After months of treatment, Isabella went into remission. Her hair grew back. Her smile returned. She and Daniel renewed their vows in a garden ceremony, attended by the very women her nonprofit had helped. One of them, a teenage girl named Raina, gave her a bracelet. "For saving my life," she said. Isabella wore it every day. Years later, Isabella published a memoir titled Chasing Fireflies, My Escape from a Gilded Cage. It became a bestseller. In it, she wrote, "Love isn't something you fall into. It's something you rise into, hand in hand with someone who sees your scars and calls them stories." At the book launch, Daniel stood beside her, holding their infant daughter, Ava. Adelaide stood behind them, smiling. And somewhere far away, Charles Wainwright watched the headlines and knew he lost. Tell us in the comments, dear viewers, if you would marry for money or for love. Can money alone sustain a marriage? Can love alone sustain marriage? Is it right to ask your child to marry someone or allow them to make the choice themselves? Sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who hold the knife, not to our backs, but to the cord of our becoming. Isabella's story isn't just about betrayal or survival. It's about the quiet war between what's expected and what is true. Her mother, Adelaide, dressed her in silk but shackled her spirit. Gregory, polished on the outside, was empty within. But Daniel, poor, unseen Daniel, offered something the others couldn't: presence, truth, and heart. And isn't that the real wealth? We spend our lives running toward what looks good in pictures, what makes our parents proud, what culture says is success. But real joy often comes wrapped in humble rags, in oil-stained hands, in unexpected souls. Pain isn't the enemy, pretense is. It took Isabella losing everything to gain herself. She walked away from the altar not just from a wedding, but from a lie. That moment wasn't rebellion. It was rebirth. So here's what I thread from this story. You are allowed to break the script others wrote for you. You are allowed to choose messy love over pristine control. You are allowed to walk away so that you can come home to yourself. Stay soft. Stay true. From the precious and holy ink of SoulThread by Chris. Thanks for watching. You are loved and cherished.